What up, everybody? Welcome to the Noonchi Podcast.
What up?
I am, how do you say? Out of breath. I walked up 2 flights of stairs right now. First of all, I wanted to apologize to our listeners. I was feeling under the weather last week. It's not COVID, but that's why we didn't record an episode. Mm-hmm. And I know that our one fan was like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Oh, we had one fan.
Our one fan. What's going on? How come you're not putting it up? And I was like, sorry guys. Anyway, so Babo, how you been, man?
Sorry, I'm having difficulties today. I'm really slow, as always, I guess.
I know you bring it up like it's a new thing.
Well, down some rum.
Oh.
It's a Saturday, so I tend to be more relaxed on the weekend.
Right.
But I don't know. I've had this like splitting headache for the last day or two, and I'm just really slow about everything. Yeah, responding, and so it's gonna be an extra fight to be interesting today. As it always is.
I know. I mean, it's like, I don't think anything's really changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh wait, did something?
Sorry, our today the equipment thing is everything is just a little off today. So Bobby, number one, I wanted to talk about. I mean, we're a little late to it, but not really if you're in Korea.
Yeah.
Because the thing that took the sports scene and probably, everything, it took a little bit, basically made people not think about COVID for a little bit, was the Michael Jordan Bulls documentary, The Last Dance. Yes. Now, for the Korean listeners on Netflix, it's only out every Monday. They put out 2 episodes, right?
Well, that's how I've been watching it on Netflix. So I'm only through episode 4. How many are there?
There's 10, and in America, all 10 have aired. And I've talked to a handful of people outside of the U.S. They also have seen all 10.
They've seen all 10. Okay, so it's just Korea that
Korea is behind.
Okay.
I'm not proud of this, but I use other methods. I use the dark arts.
The dark arts
to see all 10 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't need subtitles, right? So
yeah. I kind of regret even starting it, knowing that I'm gonna have to wait on Netflix, and I don't use the dark arts for the internet.
Oh, I'm all
so,
I'm Wingardium Leviosa and on these.
But then again, I know how it ends.
Right.
Like there's no
spoiler alert.
There's no twist ending, right?
Right.
Am I right? You saw the whole thing though, right?
Spoiler alert. Michael Jordan and the Bulls win 96 championship.
I actually I mean, like I'm not a basketball fan now.
Right.
But I was when I was a kid. Like I was a huge basketball and sports fan in general.
What happened? Number one, why didn't that love for sports continue?
Because I started to play guitar and I started writing songs when I was 12 years old. But up until I was 12 or 13,
right,
I followed sports religiously. And so now that I'm watching The Last Dance, all these old memories of that old footage was just incredible to watch. It's like the nostalgia is just totally worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm again similar to you. I don't have a rooting interest in a lot of teams anymore, like I used to. Like back when I was a kid. I was a diehard Laker fan. I still am.
Yeah.
But I'm not as hardcore as I used to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember my dad, he took me to the Great Western Forum when I was like 4. And that's like what, 90?
I don't know what that is, by the way. What's the Great Western Forum?
It's where the Lakers used to play.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right.
And so my dad loved basketball. So he took me to the Forum when I was 4. So that's like what, 86?
Okay.
Right? And he pointed at Magic Johnson and was like, that's the best basketball player you'll ever see in your life.
Oh,
right?
really?
And so from then on, I had like a rooting interest in the Lakers.
Okay.
Right?
Were you a huge... I mean, this was before Jordan?
Jordan came in 84, I believe.
Oh,
so
you
he
weren't
was
alive.
Yes. So he was 2.
Okay.
Right? I mean, and
You were 2.
No. I was 2.
Oh, you were 2.
And so, like, you know, when I started watching basketball, like, I was a Laker fan. So anyone against the Lakers, I was like, yo, fuck these guys, right?
Including Michael Jordan.
Right?
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Larry Bird first.
Yeah.
Right? And then Jordan won the first championship in 91 against my beloved Lakers.
Okay.
Right? And so I knew he was good and awesome and like tongue hanging out, like jumping from the free throw line shit. Like I knew that was all dope, but you can't beat Magic, man. Like that was the feeling.
I was a Magic fan. I was just like an overall basketball fan. I lived in New York. The Knicks were a big deal to us, but honestly, I was a huge Michael Jordan fan. But overall, I like them all.
Yeah.
Like I like Larry Bird.
Right.
I like Clyde Drexler. I like David Robinson.
It's so odd for me to hear you spout out athlete names. You know
Hakeem Olajuwon. I liked, Sean Kemp. Like I was like a huge card collector. I had everything: football cards, baseball cards, basketball cards. I think I had, even the McDonald's versions of those limited edition cards. And now I know they're worth nothing. Like at the time, I remember they would value them.
Absolutely. There used to be a book called the Beckett Guide, where every month it would show the price of these cards that you had.
And as a kid, you're holding on to these cards that you bought for a pack for like $1 or $2.
Right.
And inside them, you could really find like a card that was worth $350 if you got like the rookie, I don't know,
Shaquille O'Neal card
So for us, like the value of money was like transferred to our sports cards. Because it was just like a...
What was your prized possession? Like this one was like in a bulletproof case. Like, if anyone touched that card, you'd be like, yo, I'm going to kill you. Like, what was that card?
I mean, I had a lot of Michael Jordans. I didn't have any of his rookie cards.
Oh, yeah.
Because
the rookie cards were, I'm sure they're still worth something if you go to like eBay or whatever.
But I think I had like a 88 Jordan and like maybe 87 or something like older than at the time.
Right.
But really, the ones that I kept from when I was really young, like in the fourth grade, was like, I'm having a brain fart. But what's Mark, the baseball player that Mark McGwire. I had a bunch of Mark McGwire rookie cards.
Oh wow.
But I don't know why I kept getting those. So I used to have sheet after sheet, like lots of them. And I always like was really proud of that.
Mark McGwire, when he was on the Oakland Athletics, part of the Bash Brothers with Jose Canseco.
Yeah, and Jose Canseco, right. And so I used to really, I can't even picture what they look like. I was very like visual. And that's why even for basketball, like I liked all the teams, even the ones that sucked, but based on their, on their logo.
Right.
Like the Heat or I don't know. I liked them all. I used to draw them at home as a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
So you didn't have so there wasn't your team. Like you weren't like Knicks to like die?
For only for the Yankees for sports. But when it came to basketball, I was kind of a bandwagon fan. Whoever was doing well at the time, and that whole Bulls run was just my childhood to a certain extent. So,
I mean, I don't think I'm going to spoil anything, but I remember, the one of the arguments is that Michael Jordan, not only was he like skilled and he was a hard worker, but he was a fucking psychotic Soshiman guy.
I haven't really gotten to that part of the documentary. Then.
Oh, really?
I mean, I am seeing parts of it that I know my teenager self or even younger would probably have been really shocked with, like him using profanity and him being like, I put him on this pedestal as a kid. I was like, we grew up in church.
Right.
And we weren't allowed to swear. We weren't allowed to do anything, commit sin.
Yeah, commit sin.
And so to watch him in the era that I used to like idolize him.
Right.
Is weird seeing the backstage stuff where he's just, or even in his interviews, he's just like saying F this, F that. It's a new light to see your childhood heroes in. Right. I mean, now like I'm totally fine with it. Like I'm glad that I've grown up and grown out of that whole like higher than thou kind of.
So when you were younger, you thought Michael Jordan was saying, "Hey, good shot, Magic Johnson." You think that's what he was saying?
Yeah, I didn't really. I thought when even trash talk was like fun.
Right.
Like I thought they did it for fun.
Yeah.
And when they were like, I always thought like even when they were fighting like Rodman and all those, like everyone was really mad at each other on the court. I always pictured them like having a group hug in the back in the back afterwards.
You stepped on my foot, bro.
Yeah, because
what are you talking? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was a kid, like I don't know, call it. I was naive, I guess, but I just wanted to believe that like David Robinson. I liked him for different reasons. Because I had heard he was a Christian, and he
super
was
Christian.
like and so I was, super church kid growing up. I was going to be a pastor at one point. Right. And so, I just really realized we had the window open. We could hear people outside, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, because it's kind of hot.
Yeah.
It's getting hotter in Korea, so there's no AC in this room. So,
yeah. But, The Last Dance, I mean, I normally something like that, I would want to really just visit the dark
the dark arts.
The dark arts of the internet. But honestly, I'm just like really tired. I'll watch like not all four were available basically when I started to watch them, I guess.
No, they
I didn't watch them all back to back like in one sitting.
Right.
Like I've been watching them one at a time or half at a time and like but it's been really good, and I don't want to binge it.
Right. I made the mistake of binging it, and so I watched the first 8 episodes because through the dark arts in one sitting, right? And then I was like, "What the fuck? Where's the other 2 episodes?" Right?
Yeah.
So I had to wait till it was available in the U.S.
Yeah.
For me to get the other last 2. Yeah. Right.
So that must have been torture.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
I know what the stories are, but the interesting things were like the backstories, right? Like overall, the frame of the whole documentary is the last season.
Yeah.
The run to their second 3-peat.
Yeah, they keep going back to that and like okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but so I know what happens in the main frame.
I forgot what happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But
don't tell me.
but to me, the interesting things were, and I'm not really giving anything away, right? But then this is I've known this before even this documentary came out, was that Michael Jordan is like, Koreans have a word called soshime, right? So like he'll take something, like if someone slighted him, he'll use that and never forget it.
Oh, okay.
And use that to fuels him, right? To a point where even his Hall of Fame speech, Michael Jordan brought the guy who got picked on the high school basketball team ahead of him.
Yeah.
And he got cut. So he invited that dude to the Hall of Fame thing and talked about him.
No way.
Yeah.
He's that petty.
He's psychotic.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, but I did hear something about his speech, and it was very uncouth. Or
I mean, but to me, it wasn't. When I saw the speech, I was like, yeah, that's Michael Jordan. He is psychotic about winning. Yeah. You know what I mean? And being the best basketball player of all time.
Well, now that you say that, like it kind of makes it okay for me. I mean, like it makes me feel better about it because, okay, maybe he's psychotic, but maybe that's what he needed to win, right?
No, absolutely. And so to me, like, as much as a person, like, he might not be fun to be around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I see that and I go, that's what it takes to be great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you need to be fucking so
it's a huge lesson, actually. And would you want to be the best comic ever if those were the sacrifices, like you had to be psychotic, you have to be.
So the answer is I don't think I'm gonna ever be the best comic ever because I can't do that. Like, I guess I can be crazy about stand up and like just focus on that, but to a point where like every edge, you know, and just the quote unquote killer mentality.
Yeah.
I don't have that when it comes to, and you know what? That's what NBA these days, right? Like the last person with the killer mentality, quote unquote. That's why these days, like the old players are calling this generation soft.
Okay.
You know, just like we are with just in general, but like the old basketball players of the 90s are like, yo, these fools, they're talented, but they're fucking soft.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The last person to have that fucking psychotic like will to win was Kobe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And Kobe also,
man, so it's a bunch of condes just like shitting on the younger generation.
There's no friendships, like, you know what I mean? We're not hugging. We're not like giving each other's jerseys. Like that was always a mindset. And so I don't know if it's good or bad, but for me, I realize that for you to be like that kind of successful, it requires you to be a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
You know?
I think we all know that to a certain extent.
Right.
So even you saying that, like, it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
I probably am missing that gene as well. But I probably would never want to go down that road, even if I had the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, but it's much respect. I mean, you know, for them to devote all those like hours upon hours, and
it's crazy.
And,
like when you think about, like, there was something they said in episode one or something, like where Jordan was making $35 million, and I guess that was a big number at the time.
Yes.
And then I'm just thinking about now how much these ball players are making,
right?
And holy cow, you know, it's a lot different
as opposed to Scottie Pippen.
That's another thing. I actually cried twice so far.
Really?
And one of it was just to see Scottie be really. Someone's knocking at the door, but I'm gonna finish this thought first. But yeah, I didn't know that was happening to Scottie in the background.
Right.
You know, just the whole thing with him. It was come in.
I don't think they have access to
they don't have access. Okay. We'll have a little break. But anyway, I'll keep talking about Scottie. I don't know. For anyone that's watched The Last Dance, like, I think that was the big thing with Scottie Pippen. He's like, I didn't know he was in that predicament. He just had to play for very little. I guess he brought it on himself. But when you have a team winning like constantly and just on top of the game, you know, the organization is making so much money.
Right.
In my mind, the whole time I was thinking, like, when are the Bulls going to offer him just more money and more security.
Right.
Like, shouldn't they be? Like, to hear that he was like really in the top 20 players in the NBA,
right?
But he was like the 150th
in terms of salary.
That's kind of like, man, like, isn't there a way to like make, like, is there a bonus structure like you can throw in there for the guy? Like he was like a.
I mean, though, in the documentary, and I don't know if he was being honest or not, but the owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, said, "I wouldn't take this deal if I were you."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But Scottie Pippen was like, well, I got to take this deal because of my family. I need to, and I have...
Yeah, he had like 12 brothers and sisters, and he comes from a big family.
And then 2 of them are in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Right? So like that kind of thing was like, oh man, that's rough. I didn't know that. I mean, as a kid, you don't know about like salaries and things like that, right? Yeah. So those are the things that were interesting about the whole documentary. Or like, oh, I didn't know that.
I was trying to, the mental math that you're doing watching the show is like he was still making like a couple million a year, which is a lot of money, of course. But he could still take care of his family. Right. But at the same time, when you know that everyone around him is making 10 times that,
right,
or more, it's like you kind of feel for the guy. To be on such a world stage and you have no idea about that kind of stuff.
Right.
As a kid, like I'm like in grade school.
Yeah. The crazy thing about this whole Last Dance was that for the last 5 weeks, every week, so it would air in America on Saturday and Sunday, right? Right.
Okay.
And then for the whole week, all sports talk was about, can you believe?
Oh yeah.
So it not only, it basically for a little over a month kind of dominated the sports airwaves of
where did it come out on? It was Netflix?
On ESPN in the US and then internationally on Netflix.
Did you need a subscription to watch it?
On ESPN?
Yeah. Or it's just free to watch?
You need a subscription on the...
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you have ESPN, like the channel on TV, then it'll come
live.
It
on there.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But if you have the dark arts, right?
I feel like it would, like, I don't know. If that's the case, I feel like they should have made it, subscription only for the first half. And then they should have opened it up like a free 1 month subscription to ESPN. And they could have got a lot of like repeat customers from that.
Right.
I don't know. Now I'm just starting to think business wise.
So this is what I'm going to say. If you feel bad about Scotty, once you finish the documentary, you're going to feel worse about Scotty.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not giving anything up.
We'll stop there.
Okay. So speaking of the Last Dance, now one of the members of that final three-peat Bulls team was Steve Kerr, who is now the coach of the Golden State Warriors. I completely forgot, and it skipped my mind. I never really told anybody this, but Steve Kerr's mom, Ann Kerr, used to be my boss in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I worked on a work study program for financial aid, right? So the work study, basically, the government pays half of it and then the school pays half of it, right?
Yeah.
So from the school, like, it's cheaper to get these work study kids, right?
Yeah.
So I worked at the International Relations Department.
At UCLA? Okay.
While I was a student. And so it was me and 2 of my good friends / roommates, right? So we were homies, right? And so there was not much for us to do, a little bit of, organizing files, like going, hey, so-and-so is going to, you have a meeting at 4. We're basically secretaries or administrative assistants, right?
Yeah.
And, but the one thing is when we were in college, given that these computers were connected to the UCLA, like landlines, right? Yeah. One of my friends, he used the UCLA landline system. It was kind of like everything was fast, right? You can download movies. Basically, what it was your file sharing with everybody within the system.
Yeah.
And so everything was fast. And he would download CDs upon CDs of porn. Because,
oh my gosh.
Because back then there wasn't like YouPorn or Pornhub or like the streaming like porn sites that are available now, right?
Okay.
So so basically you had to download them to watch them. And Koreans apparently still do that to this day, right? But back home we would use things like Kazaa, to download. When it would take a whole day.
I remember we used to download movies. It would take a whole day or two. So
he was burning CD upon CD on a regular basis, right? And naming him, shh, you don't want to know volume 1, right?
Did he get caught? Was it
So what happened was the IT person of the International Relations Department comes up to him and goes, hey, like I know what you guys are doing, right?
Oh, really?
He's like, hey, I get it, but like, come on, man, like you can't be downloading like,
oh my God,
like 3 CDs worth on a daily basis. You know what I mean? You can't have a whole spool by the end of the week. Okay. You know what I mean?
Why do I feel like you were like involved with a lot of like shady things in college? Didn't you used to sell like fake IDs as well?
That's alleged.
Am I outing you now?
Alleged.
Are you gonna get like in trouble by the alumni association that you won't be invited back?
I don't think I've never been invited to begin with, but
I don't know how it works.
It's been alleged that I did illegal activities to pay for things, but it can't be proven.
Okay.
So for me,
did he get fired? What happened?
No, they were like, just fucking cut it out. And he's like,
oh, really?
Right. Yeah.
That's a big solid of them to be.
Yeah, because they didn't want to fire us because then they'd have to get new work study people, and that's hard to find. Right, they would have to find regular people, so they'd have to pay double the salary.
They're saving money.
right. So they're saving money by having us because, like we're doing our jobs. It's just that we're doing extra shit that's not, that's not kosher, right?
Yeah, setting up the download is just like you set it up and then you go work and you come back, it's done kind of thing. So, all right.
So like it's not like it's taking away from your efficiency, right? Like you're doing the same amount of work.
And it's the IT guys, right? It was like not Steve Kerr's mom.
Now, here's the thing, though. Now, my dealing with Steve Kerr's mom, right, is that I finished all my stuff, and I didn't do any of the downloading, I swear, right? But then, so there was nothing to do. So there was a game called Yahoo Pool. Now, for those, Yahoo still exists.
I remember
right?
Yahoo Pool. Yeah,
where you play pool with your mouse with fucking strangers from all over the world, right?
Yeah.
Some dude was kicking my ass, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a little cheating. Michael Jordan would not approve of this, but what I did was, in one game I got a ruler, and I stuck it against the screen, right? So I couldn't see the trajectory of the ball, right?
Oh, that's what you. Oh, like on Easy Play, they give you the trajectory.
They give you the trajectory, but then I wanted to even get it even more. So I would even like measure the banks and stuff, you know, like so I was like, boom. And then, I was killing this motherfucker.
Oh, you started winning.
Yeah, I was killing this motherfucker, right? Killing him. And I was all like excited. I was like, oh, I'm beating this fool. And all of a sudden, tap on my shoulder, I look up, Professor Ann Kerr is looking at me, Steve Kerr's mom, and goes, Dan, what are you doing? Right? And you can't tab shift this shit, right? My hand is against the fucking screen right now. Like, this is called a Yahoo Pool. And she's like, I mean, I know you finished all your work and that's cool, but like there's gonna be clients that come and like you don't want them to see you do this, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. And I go, and so instead of stopping, I was like, but I mean, I will stop, but why is my computer set up this way where my back is turned toward the door? Can we move the desk? And then she was like, is that your solution?
Actually, that's a good point though. Like,
Yeah.
you're using your mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's solution.
Yeah.
Your solutions is like yeah. She should have noticed that you.
I didn't get fired either. It helped with a lot of my
Steve
bills.
Kerr.
You know, but Ann Kerr was awesome. You know, she was an awesome boss. And I remember because when I first met her and I saw her like her, you know, placard, right? And it said Ann Kerr. And I was like, Kerr, are you related to Steve Kerr by any chance? And she's like, oh yeah, he's my son. And I was like, yeah, get out of here, right? And then
But you just asked kind of like joke, like almost like jokingly.
How many Kerrs? I don't know any Kerrs, right? So I was like, well, you know, I'm a basketball fan. He's like, oh, he's my son. I was like, get out of here, right? And so in her office, there was like pictures of them together, and I was like, oh shit, you're really, you know.
Were you in there ever like? Do you have any pictures of Jordan?
But you know, watching this documentary, I don't know how you felt, but it also took me back to the 90s mentally, right?
Yeah,
and I was like, what was I like in the 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Those are tough times for me. And then personally, I now that you bring that up, yeah, I hated growing up. I had a lot of like weird, just I don't know. I don't want to get all dark now, but
I mean, you've been dark the whole. You've been dark for.
Well, now that I think of it, you know, like back in the early 90s, the Jordan era, I'll say. I remember we were kind of just moving place to place to place. By the time I got to high school, it was the longest I stayed. Actually, in high school I moved to a lot, but staying in one school, that was the longest I stayed in one place, one school. Because I think by the time I went to college, I moved like 24 times or something, something like that. But in my whole life, it's been just double that or whatever. But as a kid, you know, when you're moving every year, sometimes twice a year, you just kind of give up on making friends. You give up on a lot of things. That's why playing the guitar and writing songs was such a big deal for me at when I discovered that. Basketball cards, baseball cards, that all went with me. Right. You know? But honestly, we kept moving not because like I was in a military family or like for, you know, for a normal reason why people would move, but it was because we kept moving into a smaller and smaller place. Like we just, I don't know. I didn't know it at first because we lived, when I was a young kid, we were kind of well off. We had a really nice, we had a house in Jersey for a couple years. Meanwhile, we had an apartment in the city, an apartment in Long Island. And then I remember there was a time we were just rotating. They kept putting me in different schools. We were well off, and then it all came crashing down. I guess we went bankrupt, and started living with my cousins in California for a while, and then we got back on our feet. My mom became a pastor, so we were taking care of people's homes. I don't know. At one point, we were living in a house in Riverside. Wow! I remember I became friends with all the kids because of the NBA. And then, so I lived in California for like 3 years as a kid. I always tell people I'm from New York because that's where I spent most of my childhood. Right. And but I did live in New Jersey and in California for a small stint. And then by the time I got back to New York, I was in 6th grade. Okay. And then, I mean, at one point it was like 5 of us in a studio apartment. And then when I turned 14, I was living alone. Yeah, I mean that like you've told me many times that you lived alone. I mean, even in the Dolly episode, you kind of briefly said how you only shat like once a week. Yeah, and how you have fast metabolism and you were super skinny and poor. Yeah, you know, and I've heard some of the stories, but you know. To me, the idea of being 14 and living alone is
is mind-boggling.
It was weird, like, because I got into the school when I was, I got into the FAME school, LaGuardia High School, Performing Arts. And it was a big deal to me. I wanted to stay in one place. Like, I was so sick and tired of going school to school. I went to like 4 different middle schools.
Oh.
At least, something like that. And then when it came time to, applying for schools also was a big deal when you're in middle school.
Right.
In New York, they have all these specialized high schools. And then I was able to convince my parents, hey, if I get into one of these schools, can I stay? Because basically that was the same deal for my eldest brother, Charlie, and Eddie as well.
Right.
Charlie got into Stuyvesant, which was like the best public school in New York. Eddie didn't get into any of them, so he had to travel with me and my mom. And then when it was time for me to take it, I got into LaGuardia.
Right.
And so they were like, all right, you can stay, but we're taking off to California because there was work there.
Right.
And so I had to live alone for a while.
I mean, it can't be legal. It had to be, that had to be some illegal.
Well, I remember living in a basement at one point in a Gia with I had a pastor as a roommate.
Okay.
For a little bit, and then he took off, and then it just was like, yeah, I can do this alone, And I was living in Manhattan at one point, and seeing my brother Eddie was in college, and Charlie was in med school, or he was like living in Brooklyn, and I would see Charlie every week on Sunday
for church.
No, he would stop by my place and drop off $20 to me.
$20.
Yeah. And so I would use that to eat during the week. And it wasn't his fault. I told him that was the deal back then. $20 was a lot back then.
Right.
In the early 90s. So I would run out by Wednesday. It was still not a lot for New York,
Right.
But I didn't want to make a fuss about it because because they were already spending money for me for an apartment.
Right.
It was still it wasn't like what it costs now to live in Manhattan.
Right.
It was really shitty living in the early 90s in New York in Midtown Manhattan. It was like really, Giuliani hadn't cleaned it up, as they say he did. And there was I lived near Times Square. There was a bunch of like XXX theaters,
sex people.
I got mugged and jumped and everything there, like all the time. And I would run out of money because $20 I would buy whatever. Sometimes I just buy guitar strings or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
With it, I wouldn't tell my parents or tell Charlie that I was running out of money.
Right.
Because I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want them to be like, you can't live in New York. You have to move back to California and start over.
Right.
So I was like just basically starving half the week. But I had little tricks and things like that. Like I would go to McDonald's and get, not order anything, but I would just ask them for the salsa packets for the fajita, chicken fajitas.
Uh-huh.
And if you look in those salsa packets, there's like chopped onions and green peppers in it. So I would like literally ask for a handful. Because you're a kid, I don't know. Pedro taught me this. Peter taught me how to do this.
Yeah.
Because I saw him do it like a bunch of times, and I just figured it was a good way to get food. So I would go to McDonald's all the time, and then to a point where I think they felt bad for me, and the workers knew me, so I wouldn't even ask, and they would just like throw it at me. They would throw like a handful of salsa packets, and I would just suck on those for like a couple days. I would get saltines, whatever I can, like in any situation. The other thing was like I had a few friends in school, and Peter and like some other people, like some other high school friends and junior high. Actually, I lived alone in junior high too, but I used to have some friends that were more well off than I was, and I would wait till we would get pizza after school.
Right.
I wouldn't eat pizza, but I would watch them eat pizza. And a lot of kids don't like crust. Like even these days, I see kids throw away crust, and it's like infuriating. Like But for me, I would wait for them to, give me their crust. They would all just like line it up, and it would be my chance to, because condiments are free, like oregano and Parmesan and red pepper. So I would open up the crust to flatten it out, kind of butterfly it.
Right.
And then I would make myself like breadstick, kind of Parmesan breadsticks. And I would eat that. That was like a delicacy for me.
First of all,
what are we talking about?
In this day and age,
yeah,
you're gonna get corona if you, everybody else's spit, right? But
no, but also, but my biggest meal of the week was at church. So at church, what they did every Sunday was they made lunch for the congregation,
right?
And it was kukbap. Like you would get I went to a Korean church, and they would make Korean stew,
right? Pechu
and rice,
right? That's the cheapest,
and it would cost $1,
right?
For it at the church, because Anyway, so I would always have $1 on me, or if I didn't, I would ask someone to buy me like a kukbap,
right?
And I would eat kukbap on the weekends. And then my other thing was, this will be the last of it. I don't want to bore you on this stuff, but I remember I used to go to hanbat. There was a hanbat next to my house where that did salongtang.
Right. And
I would go there every now and then, maybe once a month or every other month, when I really, really wanted something good and healthy. I would get a bowl of salongtang. That was the cheapest thing they had at the restaurant. And I would never finish it, purposely. I would get maybe close. Sometimes I get very close to the bottom of the bowl.
Right.
And then I would ask to take it to go. It was just me, this 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid just eating alone. And it was 24 hours. So sometimes I would go 2 a.m.
Right.
And then I'd be eating that. And I would ask for it to go. And I would always see them laugh, or some of the waiters would be kind of annoyed with me.
Right.
But then they kind of caught on to that this kid is eating alone every now and then. And they used to fill the to-go container with more salongtang.
See, that's
to the top. They would put it back. Because, it's just a big bowl that's boiling all the time.
Right.
And so whenever I would get it to go, it would magically be full. And then I would have an extra meal. And the first time that happened, I realized that was a way for me to double my, my money. Just to save money and have an extra meal. And then I would cut that meal into 2 or 3, because I used to do some ghetto things, man. I remember I after church once, we all all these kids from Jersey and stuff, they would stay around, and sometimes they would buy dinner, or we go to a Korean restaurant Kumgamsang or something like that, and then they get 갈비, and then the bones.
Right.
I would look at the bones and be I would wrap them in napkins. And I would take the bones home.
To make soup?
Yeah, and I would boil the bones. And then I would just have myself, some bone broth soup. I did some ghetto things, man. But I was so skinny, I only pooped once a week.
Yeah. That is I don't know if it's heartbreaking. I mean, at the end of the day, it you survived it, and it I don't like, it's a cliche, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I guess, to a certain extent. I mean, because I was not that poor, but I did have a big ghetto streak in me,
I believe it.
Yeah. These two were in high school, and I have 2 stories. One story was friends, a couple of friends and I, we were playing basketball. And on the weekend, and then we were hungry, so we went to the nearby. We were living in, my high school was in South Pasadena, so in the 626 area, right, or as they call it, the 626. So we went to a nearby Chinese restaurant, right? A sit down Chinese restaurant. And then and I was like, wait, how much money does y'all have right now?
Yeah.
And we did not, there was 4 of us, and in total we had $12.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Out of all 4 of us in total, and it's not like, we were like 15, 16. We didn't have like a debit card or a credit card or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we ordered 1 fried rice, right? 4 of us. And then we asked for 2 bowls of white rice.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I think I know where this is going.
So we got the fried rice.
Yeah.
We put the 2 bowls of white rice on top of it.
Yeah.
Got the soy sauce, and then we a few drizzles, and then we re-pokat the fried rice to make it extra.
Yeah.
Dude, the look we got, because I was like, obviously if we had money we would pay, but with 4 of us,
that's pretty. That's pretty awesome though. Like to be that as a kid, that's pretty.
That was. We all looked at each other
creative.
Like, we all looked at each other like, I don't think we can come to this restaurant anymore, guys.
I remember I used to order from Chinese restaurants.
Right.
Like they had always this. No one would ever order it, but I knew it existed on the menu if you asked. Was plain fried rice, which was just rice and soy sauce, basically. Like it was like brown rice, but like a little bit salty.
Right.
And it would be cheaper, a little bit more expensive than the white rice. I would get that all the time. Like, and in my mind, I was like, this is fried rice, but there's no like bean,
no egg, no peas, no nothing.
Peas, no carrots and stuff in it. But that's pretty ghetto, man. Yeah.
Ghetto number 2.
There's more.
Ghetto number 2. There was a McDonald's near our house. I mean, near our high school. And in the McDonald's, there was they had something called bucket of fries, right? Now, a bucket of fries was instead of an actual bucket or whatever, they used a supersized fountain drink cup.
Yeah,
and they filled that with fries.
I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Right? And so what I would do, and me and my friends would do, is we'd order one of those.
Yeah.
We'd eat all the fries. And then we just go to the soda fountain and then fill it with soda, right? Now,
that's pretty ghetto.
After doing that a few times, I think the McDonald's caught on to our scheme. And so what they did was they started punching holes in the bottom of those cups.
Yeah.
So that if we did it, it'll leak, right?
Oh, they did that because of you guys.
I'm assuming it was because of us, right? Now the part was this should have stopped us, right?
Yeah.
But it did not stop us because what we did was, all you needed was an index finger. Which what I mean by that is you would do this. You would just plug the bottom, of the and fill the still
with your finger.
And then still drink it, right? So eventually they got rid of the bucket of fries at that McDonald's.
That's so genius.
Because we weren't obviously we weren't rich, but we weren't like poor, right? But we'd always try to figure out how to, when it came to eating, beat the system.
Yeah. I know people like straight up, they just get a cup of water, and it was always like a Dixie cup that even at McDonald's they would give you that.
Yeah.
Because you can get water at the soda fountain, right? But I knew people that just straight up asked for that, and they would like pour themselves some Coke or High C or whatever it was. And
I mean, at the very least,
I would never do that.
At the very least, if you wanted to pull that move, at least like something like Sprite, so it's clear, right?
Yeah.
Just Noonchi, you know what I mean? A little bit, right? Dude, I don't know, man. And then I found it fun, to be ghetto like that. I don't know. It was like an accomplishment. It wasn't like I was embarrassed of that move, Like there was another in college, freshman year. There was a Mongolian barbecue place in Westwood. I don't know if it exists. It used to be called Mongols, right? And so what it is you get like a big ass bowl, and then you fill it with like beef and whatever, and then they weigh it, and then that's how you pay for it.
Oh yeah, and then they stir fry it for you.
Yeah,
right?
they stir fry it
I've
for
seen
you,
that in California.
Yeah. Well, they don't weigh it. You just get paid for the bowl.
The bowl,
right? So you don't So the idea is, if the more you fill in this bowl, the more you're making a profit, I guess. So every one of the college kids that were poor, what they would do was they would flatten out this frozen beef, right? And then kind of make it so that you can pack more beef in there.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Everyone did that, right? But then what they didn't do, and this is what I started doing, was I hate broccoli, right? I hate vegetables, but I got the broccoli, and I would make a broccoli fence on the bowl, right? So that if there's a bowl, more shit comes out, so you can pack more meat and more noodles. So it was just literally it was beef, some broccoli, more beef, and noodles, right?
You're essentially making the bowl deeper.
Yes, I made a bigger bowl. And
oh my god!
And so when they would look at me and they would be like, "Oh my god!" So I did it a few times.
Yeah.
And then what they started doing was they started cutting the stems of the broccoli, so we can't do that.
Damn,
shit.
man, they're all. Then you keep making all these establishments have to figure out ways to stop you.
Yeah. So
okay.
So
you know what? And then they end up hiring people like you, for the government, how they at the FBI hires old scam artists.
Yeah.
To
but I'm just scamming people on how to eat more food, more bang for your buck.
Oh man.
Oh, dude, those were the good old days, my friend. I don't know, man. I think about those days, and my parents, my mom. I don't know. I think it's hard for parents to tell their kids that they're poor.
Yeah,
you know, they're struggling. But I kind of had a suspicion that when I was in college, my parents weren't doing so hot.
Yeah,
financially, right? And so, but thankfully for them and for me is that they never needed to pay for anything for me, because through the dark arts, I would make money. The work study, stand up, I would get paid. Yes, scholarships. So everything, everything basically I made or had pay off, right?
Right.
And so I think that helped helped them out a lot. Yeah. And I didn't even live at home. I lived on dorms or in an apartment. And so the funny thing was if I knew how poor we were, it doesn't make sense how much weight I gained in college, right? You know what I mean? Because I went in and I gained in 2 years I gained 40 pounds.
It's because you're on a meal plan in college, right? For me, I gained a lot of weight too because it was the first time I had access to food. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, college is good. The freshman 15.
Oh, dude, I got to 215 pounds.
Oh my gosh!
And then I remember, I had the same friend who was downloading all the porn. Yeah, his mom and dad actually bought a condo for us, and then we just had to pay him rent. Right?
Oh my goodness, right? That's nice.
That was cool, right? Yeah. But then his mom and dad would come every now and again to check up on the condo because there's fucking 6 of us living in there, and just we're a bunch of dudes, But she saw my gradual weight gain, and then I come in from summer school and I look at her, and then she's Chinese lady, and she goes, "Oh, Daniel, you look so healthy." I was like, what the fuck? She went through the Rolodex of words, and then she said, "You look healthy." I was like, "No, I don't look healthy."
Oh man, memory lane. I guess that's the
episode.
The episode.
And you know what we should call it? Yeah. Given our last episode when you titled it "Ha Jiwon walks into a bar." Yeah. A bunch of Ha Jiwon fans walked in and checked it out. So what if this one I think would be Last Dance, but a lot of people would have done that, right?
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
We'll name it Steve Kerr's mom. Steve Kerr's mom is an awesome person.
This week, I guess we got to wrap up. We have another recording in here after. But we haven't done a Dear Korea in a while.
Right.
But maybe I don't have one prepared. Korea's been really good to me lately. So I'll just say, Dear Korea, keep killing it. Keep doing it.
I have a dear.
Look good.
I have a Dear Korea. My Dear Korea is, Dear Korea, please do away with the rule of 3.
What's that mean?
In Korea, like when you offer somebody something, right? You know, hey, you want something to drink?
Yeah.
Even if you want something to drink,
you say no.
And you have to do it 3 times. Right, 괜찮아요. We have to fight 3 times, right?
Yeah.
So not only as
like the check. I'll pay the check.
Yeah, no, I'll pay the check. No, that's okay. You know, like you paid last time. You know, like so. To me, not only do I want to offer a service or a good deed to you, I have to be a salesman about this fucking service. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what's annoying to me, right? So to me, I understand it's a cultural thing. Yeah. But guys, especially foreigners, it is so hard not only to learn the language. If you learn 괜찮아요 as it's okay, right? As a foreigner, and you'd be like, hey, you want something to drink? And they'd be like, 괜찮아요. That means it's okay. Later, dude. right? Like that's the idea, right? So I know it's deeply rooted like culturally. Yeah. But it's unnecessary, guys. It's a waste of time. The rule of 3 is definitely a waste of time.
It's I would agree and also disagree because I kind of like it. I kind of like having that you know, because you could work it towards your favor, where you're like, you say you'll pay, and then someone says no, they'll get it, and then if you really can't afford it, then you could kind of say okay. All right, thank you.
See, but that's not the rule of 3 though. That's the rule of 1.5, right?
I don't know. I'm just trying to be what's the word? Anyway,
funny was not what you were looking for. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. Check us out on Spotify. We're on Spotify as well as every other podcasting platform. Crazy congratulations to Joe Rogan and his gigantic deal
with Spotify. Yeah, that's a game changer, I'm sure, in a way, and hopefully it benefits us small-time podcasters. I don't know.
I heard they didn't give the number, but they were like generational wealth.
Oh, really?
What he's building and what he's getting.
I heard 100 million for like a few years or something like that.
Right. It was a 3-year deal.
Okay.
So
I don't know.
Good for you, number. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like the godfather of podcasting, right?
Yeah, and he really is. Like you can't deny it. Like if you look through his first like 5-6 years of podcasting, it wasn't anything special. Right. I mean, the content was good, but if you look at the quality, nothing really changed until I'm going to just say maybe the last few years it got better. Right. But he just stuck with it, man. Like he's a fighter. Yeah. He's in it to win it kind of attitude. You know, he sticks with it like a marathon runner. Yeah. You know, I like that attitude.
So yeah, we're all there and hopefully we can make some Joe Rogan money. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Talk to you later, guys. Bye.